Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Best Practices for Depot Repair webinar. Thank you for taking the time today to join the webinar. My name is Roy Lobb. I'm the Director of Biomedical Products with PartSource. With me is Jeremy Cook.
I'm Jeremy Cook, the Senior Director of Healthcare Technology Management at Methodist Labonte Healthcare in Memphis, Tennessee.
Thank you, Jeremy. During today's webinar, you can expect to learn about common obstacles in depot repair and some best practices to overcome them. Clinical engineering teams frequently send assets out for depot repair and are responsible for the quality performance of each asset. But healthcare organizations often lose control and insight once an asset leaves the building. By implementing some best practices, technicians and engineers can gain transparency and efficiency over depot repair. Today we'll discuss some things you should expect from a best practice depot repair offering to overcome. And now I'll hand it over to Jeremy.
Thanks, Roy. Most clinical engineering departments usually spend anywhere between 25 to 50% of their time on repair services that could typically go to a depot repair provider. They also lose up to 95 minutes trying to obtain an RMA to send these devices out for repair. And then there's the question of the quality of the repair that's done by the potentially unverified depot and non-ISO certified depot repair providers. So next we'll talk about some of the challenges associated with typical depot repair, such as the costs of OEM and third-party repair providers. The costs are also increased by certain vendors and OEMs that have, over time, moved to mandating that you have to install serialized parts. This trend in the industry has created many questions in the minds of healthcare technology management department leaders on where and who they should send their depot repair to. And this is primarily done as a fear tactic to drive service back to the OEMs. Another cost consideration and a frustration of mine has been around tier pricing. I know there's been many times when I've sent a device in for repair and thought I was going to pay a lower tier price and found out on the back end that the tier had been increased to a higher tier level, and that creates a lot of challenges and frustrations on the back end, having to revise POs, having to fix invoicing issues and stuff of that nature, and that eats up a lot of precious time for the biomed departments. I know one of the other pet peeves of mine is when third-party depots don't honor their stated warranties. I'm sure many of you have heard many of the phrases that I've heard myself, such as, well, it's not the same issue that you sent it in for originally the last time. Well, how am I going to verify that once a device is in the depot's possession? You really can't. And so many of us begrudgingly probably revise our POs, go ahead and pay for the second repair, even though it should have been covered under the warranty that we sent it in for. And our only real recourse in that event is to change depots, but more than likely we're going to end up with another depot that's going to treat us exactly the same or maybe even worse. Then there's the issue of visibility, as Roy talked about. I have a story around that where one of my technicians many years ago sent off a neuro microscope to a local depot for repair. And he ended up leaving my employment 3 months after he sent it in, and it was unbeknownst to anybody in management that this device got sent out. A year later, we get a phone call from that vendor stating, "We can't fix your neural microscope. What do you want us to do with it?" Of course, I was shocked that a $500,000 piece of equipment was in a depot's hands for over a year and some change, and realized that I had lost total control of that because, as many of us know, with the size of our health systems, as large as they are, and the number of technicians that we have that work for us, that there's a lot of opportunity for losing control of the depot repair process. And I know that's an extreme case, but I'm sure many of us have experienced the same thing. Then there's also the issue of equipment downtime that has to be faced. Our clinical departments will do everything they can to treat patients. And in many cases, if they don't have the equipment available to take care of patients, they're going to rent equipment to meet that patient care need. So this, of course, increases the cost of patient care and affects your organization's bottom line. So finding a good depot repair that can turn things around quickly is a real added advantage. And lastly, one of my internal challenges has been around uploading service documentation to my CMS system. With so many technicians in the field, with all of them being mobile, out and about, trying to get a paper document out of the box, scanned up to the network, and then attached to the work order system is a huge challenge. And for me, it's even a greater challenge and requirement as my health system has decided to be regulated by DMV, who is pushing ISO certification, which means I need to have ISO traceability back to the source of who did the repair for me. So one of the other pieces of advice I typically give both managers of healthcare technology departments and even to people that work for me, with the limited resources that you have, technicians are always trying to figure out how to become effective and efficient in what they do in an ever-increasing workload. So sometimes the phrase I have always used is, it's not always whether you can fix something or not, it's sometimes whether you are the most appropriate person to fix it. By utilizing quality depot repair services, you can increase your return on investment and shrink your cost of service ratio. You can do this by optimizing your limited biomed resources for more valuable services to your organization. Everyone knows if you can fix a CT scanner and repair that, you're going to save a lot more money than fixing an infusion pump. And this also helps you in times when your staffing is low and you need to maximize what can only be done on site, such as preventative maintenance and service on big pieces of equipment that can't be sent out for repair. You'll also end up improving your uptime and availability of equipment. And lastly, you'll achieve what I call the highest quality repairs at the lowest possible cost. So with that, what should you expect out of a quality depot repair vendor? The first thing is an easy and efficient RMA ordering process, preferably electronic, so that you can get an RMA and then get your packing slip, send it out for repair as quickly and efficiently as possible. You also need a depot repair who's going to ensure that when the device shows up, that they carefully unpack the device, they inspect it, they verify all the accessories that came with it, they log it with a unique repair identifier and traveling documents that will follow it through the entire repair process. You also want to assure that depot has qualified technicians to diagnose and develop a cost-effective repair protocol to the component level, if appropriate, and to keep the costs as low and efficient as possible. You also want to assure that the depot has testing protocols for these devices to verify that the repair that the qualified technician did is going to maintain itself over time. That usually requires a 24-hour burn-in period to ensure that the components that were installed or the boards that were installed are working effectively. And lastly, you should expect a final review process. What I've found is good depots usually have a secondary double check on the original technician who did the service. Their job is usually to inspect the device for OEM specifications, do the PM procedure, verify all the documentation matches, inspect for any cosmetic issues that were with the device, and then make sure the device is cleaned and prepped for shipment, along with putting in the box a full service report and a PM sheet if appropriate. So with that, I'll hand it off to Roy, who will give us even more details on how PartSource can provide this solution.
Thank you, Jeremy. Really appreciate your insight there. You may know who PartSource is since we've been around since 2001, but PartSource has changed significantly over the years, improving our offerings to customers based on feedback and ensuring quality is a part of everything we do. In the past few years, we recognized a need for depot repair services that had quality and transparency, so we started offering depot repair services to customers as well. Just like we manage the supply chain with over 6,000 OEM suppliers, we've taken the same methodology through our patented VRM, our vendor ranking module, and applied that to the depot repair services, so we could, in essence, offer the same thing we already did in parts. Like I said before, quality is at the core of everything we do. We have a patented process to source and procure parts. Our supplier ranking module is our platform that drives insight into purchasing decisions for quality parts. A set of 12 variables contribute to our qualitative and quantitative inputs to create an index score for every single supplier. The supplier choice and a part's quality score are used to produce a blended score that ultimately determines what's offered in our online eParts Finder marketplace. The supplier meets or exceeds all metric thresholds and maintains the highest scores on KPIs. So again, to ensure quality on the KPIs, 1, PartSource uses a patented process to source and procure parts. 2, we have 12 variables that contribute to our qualitative and quantitative inputs to create an index score for every single supplier. 3, the best options are presented in the marketplace real time, as though you had instantaneously called 1,000 suppliers across 3.5 million parts every single time. And then 4th, our best industry process helps us create best in industry results with a less than 1% quality coded return rate overall. We apply the same quality approach to our depot repair offering. PartSource has a rigorous quality assurance process managed through our supply chain to ensure quality equipment is coming back into your organization, meets industry standards, and exceeds customer satisfaction every time. So to reiterate what Jeremy talked about, the challenges that can occur with depot repair, on the left, we see a typical depot repair process that occurs with a lot of unknowns with pricing, timing, quality, and then also a hands-on approach to managing the process. And what we've created with PartSource Depot Repair, the process shown on the right, there are 3 main steps. You search eParts Finder for the repair process you need, ship the repair using the label generated from your online repair order, and then receive your quality repair back with the ability to track status throughout the entire repair process. So what I want to go over here now is what the experience looks like when you go on our online portal here. So what you see here is a snapshot of how repairs can be ordered online in 60 seconds and what we provide for customers using Depot Repair. Customers can track a repair all the way through the repair process. Our system automatically tracks each order through the entire process, providing full transparency into the process for planning purposes. We also, well, coming soon, actually beginning in May here, will store all service repair reports for you for up to 7 years to ensure we make it easy to find, review, and help you be compliant with your regulatory body. So I know in the past, a lot of you have probably seen, even from us, service documents which were filled out, put in the box. I know we did go the extra mile to send an email if need be, but what we really want to do here is make sure you're compliant and make sure you have everything you need depending on what those regulatory bodies are within your network. I'm going to show you now how this service works through epartsfinder.com. And I'm going to walk you step by step from step one of the process, what you're looking for, what to expect, and then walk you through all the way to the end here. So you're at the front page here. If you search in repair, in this instance, we simply searched with Apex Pro Repair. And what we did here, unlike parts are identified by a part number. So what we decided to do for all of our makes and models is create the part number to be identical to the model, make and model number, if applicable, in the Pro series, not applicable. It's either CH or FH. But Apex Pro Repair in the search bar, and that'll give you what's next, which the repair you search for comes up, provides the details you wanted to know, and it includes everything you need, such as flat rate price is included, so you know this is exactly what you're going to pay. The details on the repair. For instance, on this particular repair, you'll notice it includes cosmetics, so you know exactly what is included. Cosmetics are not always included in repairs, but it is stated on our website what is or is not. And then coming soon with that service docs, the two most highly used infusion pumps in the industry will also be including those in your repair services with cosmetics. So that'll be visible to you online, just like it is on the Apex Pros and any other telemetry transmitters. We do that on all of those as well. The expected turnaround time you can see is 5 to 7 days on this. So whatever the unit is, and you'll see there are some variances here. There are a couple of units that do take a little more time. So we want to be clear that our system is generating the expected lead time that you receive that back. In that particular case, OEM usually takes several months. That one for us takes around 10 days. So still way above industry standard. We just want to be clear so you know when you're getting your equipment back. On this piece here, pretty simple. This is where you would add the serial number and the repair reason for that device. We do require a serial number. Of course, you need that to track your device from when the time it leaves your facility to our repair facility and all the way back to you, with the only exception, something like a box of suction regulators. But any other of the actual medical devices, they do require a serial number. And this here, what I wanted to show you, many of our customers like to do multiple. So instead of sending one Apex Pro transmitter, for instance, at a time, many times they'll send 3, 4, 5 of them. So when we were creating the ability to do these repairs online, we wanted to make sure it was easy. So what this does here is if you simply hit continue shopping, it will populate all the same data it did on the initial Apex Pro, and the only thing you need to do is put a serial number in and the repair reason, and you can move on. And you can do that as many times as you need to, put it in your cart and check them all out at once. So once you go to checkout, here's what you would see. Fill in the details you prefer for this order and hit submit. The order would then auto-generate the shipping label as well as the RGA label immediately. So you or technician or whomever is shipping this out, as soon as they decide they're done, everything's placed in the cart, all their shipping labels are instant, and they can ship them right out there, as well as the RGAs, to identify those unique repairs. Once an order is complete, you'd be able to also go into the system to see all your service reports. That's the new feature I spoke about earlier that PartSource has added to our depot repair offering to help with compliance and audits. These service reports will then be available for 7 years within our system for you to access. And I don't know, I know I've spoken to a lot of customers, and I've heard a few different things. Things like we take the report today, we manually enter into our data system, or we take what you have, we scan it, and then we upload it. So hearing all these things, the thought was, of course, we want it to be recordable. That's the most important. But secondly, we want to make it easy on our customers. So what we did is we just simply put them on there. So all you have to do is take the PDF, and you can upload it to your CMMS or data system, whichever it is you're using to document those types of things. So now you've seen the ordering process for depot repair. So what do we repair? As I mentioned, PartSource offers a comprehensive biomedical depot repair offering with flat rates on more than 600 makes and models across all major OEMs. You can see from these categories, we offer everything from infusion pumps to patient monitors, general biomedical equipment, and repairs in respiratory and fetal monitoring. We, when we created this, we just tried to make it vague, but we support every major OEM within these categories, whether it's a CareFusion or Baxter pump or a GE or Philips patient monitoring. And then under general biomed, it gets, there's a little additional things thrown in there. I tried to spell those out as best I could for you, which include defibrillators, ESUs, all your compression units, so any of your SCDs, external pacemakers, light sources, and tourniquets, and then respiratory, like the BiPAP, humidifier, stuff like that, of course, and then some of the smaller type repairs. We do also offer for the suction regulators, O2 blenders, and the flow meters. So again, thank you everyone for taking the time today. What I'd like to do now is open up the discussions and take some questions. If we don't see any, I've got a few that I've been asked over the years from creating the program. So we'll wait a moment here to see if anyone has any specific questions I can answer for you. And what you do to ask those questions, right in the screen there should be a bar that says question, and then right below it, you could type any questions you might have. So maybe I'll get the ball rolling here and ask a few questions. And these are just questions that I've been asked in the past from customers, whether I was on a conference call, on site, or in these type of situations. And a lot, some of the first things we're asked is, does PartSource, does PartSource actually do depot repair at its facility? The answer is no. PartSource is partnered with ISO-certified repair facilities who have been vetted through our patented vendor ranking module, bringing the highest quality within their field of expertise. Somebody just asked a question. It said, and they asked, would you show us the service report that we'd be able to attach to a work order in our database? And Susan is assisting right now. Let's see if she can get that pulled up and share that with you. What I will do with that is I have a copy of everybody who's attended today, and I will send that to you directly. Again, that release is being done on May 1st, So it's not in the system right now. It's went through all the testing protocols and whatnot, but I'd be happy to send that to the group. Another question was, do we offer repairs for international equipment? The answer to that is a tricky one. If it's the same equipment that's here in the States, yes, but if it's not, no, we do not. Another question we're asked more commonly is, how can I guarantee that the highest quality parts are used in my repair if they're not OEM original? The answer is the majority of repairs are done at the component level and are using OEM original parts. They just happen to be components. Those components are the exact same that are used on the OEM parts when they are manufactured. Someone else asked, is there a benefit to fixing something with depot repair versus buying parts and fixing in-house? Similar to another one which asked, how do you determine when you send it out versus keeping it in-house? So I've got a couple responses to that to try to help our customers today. The best way to determine whether to send out for repair or do it in-house is to weigh the cost benefits along with the warranty. Keep in mind the repair no-hassle warranty covers the unit for up to a full year. And I say up to because our only exception today is on a Fusion. Everything else, we are covering a full year on that no-hassle warranty. So what I would recommend is doing the cost comparison on eParts Finder. In many cases, you can actually look it up, show both the part option along with the repair option, which gives you the best information to decide which makes more sense to go forward on there. I'm just pausing to see. I see another one coming in. Someone asked, what can you provide an example of an acceptable warranty policy? And I'm just reiterating what we said earlier. No hassle warranty is most favorable for the customer. It just fixes holes in what was prior, just a little bit of a hassle to not only the suppliers but to the customers, and to the customer more so. If you have to go back and amend a PO or worry about back-end invoice issues, it just causes a lot of pain out there. Another question came in about performing upgrades, firmware upgrades on the device. I would need to get a little more specific on that, but typically software-related and upgrade-related issues, they do fall under the OEM's realm of responsibility. But if you'd like to talk more specific, I'm going to leave my contact information at the very end of this webinar as well, and I'm happy to get back with you on that. Another question here. Can PartSource integrate with our system and how work orders are currently placed? The answer is yes. PartSource can integrate with most of the CMMSs. This will allow you to save the service documents in your CMMS or data management system, depending on how you keep record of those today. And again, if anyone wants specifics on some of these things, I'm trying to hit the general audience, please just reach out to me and I'll get you an answer immediately. So I know it's a little silent. I'm going to hold here for a few more minutes to see if any more questions come in. If not, I'll of course share my contact information, and any come in the near future, or anytime for that matter, you can reach out to me.
Hey, Roy, I don't mean to put you on the spot, but I have a question for you.
Okay.
The service report, when it's uploaded, is it associated to an individual or an organization?
Service report. I guess I don't. Can you elaborate?
So if another technician from the same organization wants to see that service report done by a different technician, would they be able to see it?
Absolutely. Yeah, so that's stored through our EPF portal for the organization to see and stored for them, and it could be seen by that technician or anyone else that was granted access by their active manager. So if you as a manager had something that was missing, like I think you spoke to even earlier, it would absolutely be there for you to view.
That's great.
That's not only the yeah, of course, that's not only the service documents, but that includes anything from, hey, this thing's been sitting there for 6 months, or you would see it tracked out in and out of the system, or I should say out of the system, not back in, which would be the problem in that case. But yes, absolutely. Thank you. I was asked, is the service document searchable by serial number or reference number? The answer is yes, it is searchable. It's in your queue, and you can see either of those things in your queue to pull it up. Again, when I say queue, my apologies. I sometimes think everybody uses EPF. So for those of you who don't, on the back end for your management console, any of your repairs, you can see at any stage where they're at. But in this particular question, there's a queue that shows you what is out, what has been repaired, or what is being repaired. And within that, anything that has been repaired already would have that service document available to you. So another question, if a different tech wants to see the document, how do they search for it? As long as it's accessible for each, meaning, I'm trying to explain this the best way. This is not my world of expertise, but as far as how you're set up in eParts Finder and who has accessibility to what, yes, they can see it, and the management tool, of course, can see anything, but that's something that I'm certain we can set up if need be. I hope that answers that. If not, feel free again to reach out to me direct. I think that's about it on the questions here. And again, thank you everyone for taking the time to join us today. If you have any follow-up questions or need anything else pertaining to Depot or anything else for Biomed for that matter, I'm always here to help. But we'll conclude the program, now, and there is my email address. If you could please reference Depot Repair Webinar, only because I'm a bit inundated with emails otherwise. I'd like to make sure your questions are prioritized. I'd appreciate that. So we'll now conclude the program. Thanks again, everyone, and have a great day.